Hello everyone, this is Mirror Nuts and today we'll be continuing our beginner friendly Road to SCP video series. Today we'll be looking at another HackTheBox machine that is lightweight. Lightweight is based on Linux and the difficulty is medium, so let's just get started. So first thing about this box that it's from the harder than OSCP section in the TJ null list. So I'll be doing that today. So first thing is like I'll run an AutoRecon scan, and if you guys don't know what AutoRecon is, it's an enumeration tool. It's gonna do few nmap scans at first, and based on the open ports and services, it's going to do additional scans on the target machine. So it's going to enumerate things for you and give you the scan result. 95% of the time works great. At times you have to manually enumerate things further. Okay, so I'll be running this scan as root. I want the UDP scan to run as well, so I'll be giving sudo over here because I'm running the box as Kali, not root, and I'll be giving Python 3 in order to run this particular AutoRecon.py file. I'll be giving the target IP address that is 10.10.10.119. In the case of lightweight, I'll be giving the O switch for output directory where I want to save the scan result. So I did already save the scan result. Sorry, I did already execute the scan, so I'm not going to do it again because it may take some time. So what we'll do is like just quickly go and look at the scan results. So first thing what I always do is I look at the full TCP and map scan, and if you look at it, we get like three ports open. We have port 22 open over here, that is running SSH, and the version number itself. You can check for search exploit over here and see if you get something interesting, or what we can. Okay, then we can obviously this version is like fairly new, so I don't think there's anything over here. And we have port 80 over here, which is running HTTP server, and obviously you get multiple things over here like fmod or something like that. You can check for these things on source exploit and see if you get something, but I don't think there is anything interesting over there, so you all can go and do that. Obviously when you're trying to do a box, take the port, take some version. If you see something funny or like different, try to search exploit against it, or take the version number and try to search exploit, and obviously Google as well if you see anything, just to rule out any exploits or something like that. So we have port 80 running, we have 389 which is new, which is running LDAP over here. Okay, so this is what it's running, like lightweight directory access protocol, and it's running open LDAP over here with some version number. And over here if we see, we do get a domain name over here, so obviously you can take this domain name and try to copy it to the target machine, sorry, to the host file. And if you see, if you may get a different web application, but I don't think it's required over here, but that's the first thing you should do whenever you get a domain name, right? Take it and add it to your etc host file. So that's like your local DNS. It's going to act like a local DNS for you. So it may give you a different web application maybe on the target machine if you add lightweight, or if you just add the IP address that is 10.10.10.119. Okay, so if you see over here, I don't think there's anything interesting over here. You don't have anything much. Okay, so I think we can close this scan. Before that, what we can do is we can just take a note like of the ports. So that is port 22. Obviously there's not going to be anything much over here, but let's just add that. Then we have port 80. Okay, that is running HTTP, and we have port 389 as well, so that is running LDAP 389. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just go for the other scan results. So if you look at the GoBuster scan as well over here, for some reason it is blank because there's I'll just come to that in a bit. Okay, so I did run normal GoBuster, small GoBuster as well, but okay, this was the GoBuster which did run earlier with AutoRecon, and these two GoBuster I did try to run manually, I guess, but for some reason I think I just tried to run one. Okay, so this was like just I guess typo or something like that. Okay, so I did try to run this, but there's an issue with running scans, so we'll just look into that in a bit in this box. But okay, so we have, what we can do is we can check out for port 80 like an map scan or something. We can check out for the robots.txt as well over here, but for some reason, okay, I think it got connection refused after that GoBuster scan, so we'll look into that in a bit. Also we have this thing. Okay, we have LDAP over here. Okay, so LDAP scan, if you look at this did a nmap scan on LDAP, and we see that we get multiple information, or like a lot of information over here, and we see that we have like a username or something. It's doing an LDAP search over here. We obviously get like the DC name, that is lightweight, and DC HTTP. So we get over here multiple things. We also have username, that is UID, that is LDAP user over here. And so you can take a note of this and probably just paste it, because we can, if we get passwords or something like that for these users, then probably we can try it across like multiple things. Okay, so we can just have potential users. So we can have LDAP user 1 over here, and if we scroll below, we do get a crypt. Okay, and it looks like a hash. So this entire thing looks like a hash. You can try and use John against it, but it does not work. It takes, like, it's on for very long and does not work. And the login shell as well, it gives like bin bash and home LDAP 1. Sorry, so the same thing will happen for the user 2 as well. There's another user where that is user 2. So let's just take that and add to cherry tree over here. And we do have the hash. Obviously I did try to first take this hash away from here. Okay, these two hashes, try to run a join against it for rockutxt, but I was not successful. It was on for very long, but that was not the way to go. So obviously it's a good thing whenever I see hashes, try to crack it with John or something using rockutxt. So that's not going to work, so I'm not going to do that. And we get few things over here, SSL ciphers and TLS ciphers, all these kind of things. And here it says poodle attack, it may be vulnerable, so you can check for this as well, but I don't think there's anything over there for information leakage. So you can try this as well. I was trying to play around with this as well, but I don't think there's anything over here. So we can close the scan for now. We do get this LDAP enumerated, and obviously you can use manual commands to enumerate LDAP as well, but this is a beginner friendly video, so probably just trying the Go Buster itself, I think it will try to do it, but you can do an LDAP search, I guess, and add multiple commands so that you can enumerate LDAP. Okay, so what we can look at port 20, top UDP scan as well, and we see I think most of the ports are like filtered. And yeah, so we can just move on. So what we'll try to do is, first thing is obviously you can check out the port 80 over here. So let's just enter the IP address. So if you come over here, it says Slender or something. So if you come across Slender is actually like, how there's WordPress or something like that. So there's some Slender application, so which you can build your own web application or something like that. And over here it says this site is protected by against brute forging. Okay, so in short, I think you cannot, that's the reason you cannot run GoBuster scans, because it will try to block your IP address and it will not let you do any scans further. That's why I guess the rockutxt scan as well, and all these scans over here did not work. It says failed to connect or something like that. So in short, we don't need GoBuster over here in this box. Even though this thing is happening, we do not require GoBuster. So we have few links over here. We can just try and click on them. So user status info. So once you click on them, you get multiple things. It says your account. For some reason, the server lets you in. Your account will be deleted and add again. So if you want to reset your account or something like that, so you can do this over here. And also we have like a status PHP page over here, which is still loading for some reason, and we have info PHP. So it says as part of SDLC. So SDLC is nothing but software development lifecycle. This happens in like developing projects and all these things, like there's a life cycle, like first you design and try to get the thoughts out, then there's implementation, like how you'll develop architecture, all these things, and then you'll actually develop testing, and then again like proper implementation of all these softwares and everything. So that's everything works fine. That's just software kind of thing. So we'll just no need to focus much on that, but it says like your proposed configuration for front-end servers with a penetration test, and it says the server is protected with some kind of threats and brute forcing. So if you try to brute force, so you'll be banned for 5 minutes. That's why that GoBuster did not work. So if you get banned, it's your fault and all this kind of thing, and it says list of banned IPs can be, you can take it from here or something. Like if you like to go into the box, please go to the user page. So obviously in user page, if we look up over here, so we see that this server lets you get in with SSH. So your IP, that is this is my attack machine's IP address in HackTheBox VPN connection. So this is like a IP which I have received on the private network, and is automatically added as user ID and password within a minute of your first HTTP page request. So we did do a HTTP request, right? So if we just load this page, we are doing a HTTP request. Obviously this is like a custom application, like it's obviously it's made from Slender. You can check out for vulnerabilities over there, and you can even check out for things over here like view page source or something to see if you get something interesting. But I don't think there's anything interesting over here. Sorry, so let's just see what is this like, because it says in short your IP address can be used as a user ID and password so that you can SSH into the box. So let's just try doing that right first. So we have this particular thing, our IP address, so let's just try doing that. Let's just SSH and give the IP address, that is 10.10.14.28. This is my attack machine's IP address, calling machine, and this is the target machine's IP address, that is your lightweight. So if I hit enter, just copy this thing so I don't have to type it again. Copy selection. So it will ask for you for a password. So you can take this and paste the password and hit enter. So it says, we actually get access to this box. Like, it's very simple to get access to this. Just have to read what's there on the HTTP page and you get access over here. So if you do who am I, and we are as this particular IP address because our users was created over there. So obviously we can do uname A over here, and we can see that this is like running 32-bit and kernel information it gives over here. So what we can do is we can just try sudo l as well, because I don't think there's anything gonna be there. So we can just give the same password which we got earlier. It'll say you cannot run anything as sudo on lightweight. Okay, so we do get inside, and what we can do is we can check out for multiple directories. This is a home directory over here. So let's just go back and see which other directories are present in the home directory. So we do have like this 14.2 directory over here. Okay, and we do have LDAP user 1, also LDAP user 2 present over here. So but we do not have access to get inside these directories. So I think these two users or this user may be interesting. So what we can do is we can just look out for any other users over here. So let's just go and check out the etc password file. So if we do that, we check out for etc password file over here. So we do see that our user is present over here. Also there's another user present over here. Also there's like LDAP1, LDAP2 present. Obviously you do not get anything else. Let's just look at the groups. I'm not sure which groups we belong to, but we just belong to the same user group present over here. So there's nothing present over here, and you can try to enumerate the box manually and see if you get anything interesting. So obviously what we'll try to do is we'll just look at the web application files. We'll see that if that is accessible. So let's just go back to the home directory. Let's go to cdvar and go to www, go to html over here, and we see that these files, okay, so we cannot access these files because root is the owner and Apache group only can read and write these files. We do not have any access of read over here. So unfortunately we do not get read access, but there's a band.txt file, but I think it's blank, so there's nothing present over here. So you can just check out manually, right? Try to find out something like some passwords or something, but I don't see any login page or something like that, but just to be safe. Okay, so obviously there's nothing present over here. So what we can do is let's just go back to the tmp directory and let's just try to get LinEnum or something and try to enumerate this box using a scanner, like a LinEnum or something. It's going to enumerate things for you. So what we'll try to do is let's just get LinEnum. So I already have it present in a box. You can get it from GitHub, the LinEnum the LinEnum sh file. So what we'll try to do is we'll just try to create a HTTP web server using Python. So we'll be adding Python 3 over here. We'll be given the module for M switch for module and HTTP server. So you can give the port number if you want, like 8001 or something like that. If you leave it blank, it's gonna by default take 8000 port over here. So what we'll try to do is we'll just transfer that LinEnum file to our target machine. So we'll be using wget. I hope wget is present over here. We do have wget present, and says wget help. Okay, so we can use wget and 10.10.14.28, that is my attack machine's IP address, and the port, that is 8000, and we'll be giving the file name, that is enum.sh. So we'll just do that. We can give the host switch, but I'm already in the tmp directory, so I don't want to give the host switch further. So if we see over here, we do get LinEnum over here. So let's just give read write access like chmod 777. Probably it will be useful later as well. So let's just see. So if we do this, LinEnum. Okay, so we do have execute access. So let's just try to execute this LinEnum file. So let's just do that, and it may take some time to run. So obviously it's going to enumerate things for us, and in the box it will see for which folders are writable, readable, and which is owned by root, and you have write access, multiple things it's going to list down for you all. So if you see over here, okay, these are just the home directory which we did see earlier, right? Okay, we get some information. Obviously another thing is you can just try to take out the release version of this environment and try to run a search exploit against that and see if you get something. But I don't think we do get a release version over here, I guess. And the environment version. Okay, it's gonna be on top. Release information. So we can check for you can just take this thing, add to search exploit, and see if you get anything over here. Multiple versions are present, right? So you can take that and add on search exploit and see if you get something. So if you scroll down, we do have cron jobs and all. I see the thing is this scan gives a lot of output, and most of the things are not required for this particular box. Okay, so at times obviously when you first go through the box, you have to look at it each and everything. Like, you can skip through multiple things over here, but don't skip if you don't find anything, right? So you can check out for main things like sshd file or something like that, or any modules or any binaries processes what are running and all these kind of things. So if you look at SUID as well, I don't think we find anything interesting. You can check out for the dates, like which were like very recent or something like that from that OS information earlier. So you can see the dates. I don't think there's anything present, or you can check the sgid files as well. And if you look at the POSIX capabilities over here, so this is a bit different, because if you have like there are like few things binaries present over here, and you have some POSIX capabilities. So if you look, there's a TCP dump capability present over here, which says capnet and admin and capnet raw plus EP. So if we'll just look into this, okay, so I don't think we'll find anything else over here. You can just try to check. So if coming to this TCP dump, so in short, there are like capabilities set over here which says like capnet admin and capnet raw. So what we can do is we can just check out capabilities, POSIX capabilities, and let's just try to open this man page over here. So the thing we need to search for is, I think, capnet admin. So let's just copy this thing, paste it over here. So in short, if we look at capnet admin, it will let you perform various network related operations and all these kind of things. So this is what is required for like TCP dump, right? You are trying to do. So if you guys don't know what TCP dump is, it's like wireshark, and it's like on the terminal. So it's gonna sniff packets, analyze packets flowing across the box and everything. So in short, we can do network related operations over here. So that's why this capnet admin is present. So we can do those things present over there. Okay, so we have capnet raw as well. So let's just take this thing, and if we look at this, it says use raw and packet sockets bind to any address for transparent proxying. So in short, I think we can run TCP dump over here in this box as this particular current user. Also we have plus EP present. So if I think there should be EP over here. Just do plus EP. I'm not sure. Okay, I think there'll be multiple EPs. I think 24 matches. But in short, EP is present for effective permitted. So effective and permitted. So in short, plus EP means that this is effective, these settings over here, for this current user, and it is permitted as well. So that means we are giving the P switch over here. So we have this TCP dump. So what we'll try to do is, let's just see if we can run TCP dump over here first. So we can just do which TCP dump first to see if we are running the same version. I think this is sbin TCP dump. So it's present as sbin TCP dump itself. Okay. So try to run TCP dump over here. It says packet printing is not supported, but use W. So in short, we can use tcpdump more likely, because if I try to run tcpdump over here, so let's just run tcpdump over here in my attack machine. So if you do tcpdump, it will show that command not found. So in order to run this, I'll have to give sudo tcp dump in order to successfully run this tcp dump, because it requires root privileges. So in short, this thing is letting us run tcp dump because of those two packets which we did see, right? The capabilities, one the netadmin and the root one. So what we'll try to do is, let's just try running tcp dump and see if this is successful. Another thing is this was a bit tricky part in the box, like the tcp dump and maybe to analyze packets and everything. So let's just look into this, because we did not find anything else in the box. So obviously you can try and enumerate through it. So we have tcp dump over here. What we'll try to do is, we'll just check out for the tunnels present in the box. So we can just do IPA, I guess. Yeah. So we can do IPA, and we see that we have a loopback address over here. That is your obviously the localhost address, and we have ENS33 address present over here. That is, the domain IP address which is present. That is 10.10.10.119. That is, sorry, not domain, but the network address. And this is the localhost address. This is in the network that this address is present. So another thing what we can do is, if we do PSAUX, we get limited processes over here, because if we look at the LinEnum scan, I think you'll find that cell Linux is present over here, security for Linux, I guess. So it's like, having a control over users, what they do, what they not do. But I think if you give the T switch in LinEnum, you'll find that. But in short, we see that we get limited processes present over here. That to the processes, I think, which we are running. So that's why we, cannot see that what all things are present over here. And probably we can check for ports. So let's just do netstat. So obviously we do get ports over here. So let's just quickly check over here. We obviously have, we do have port 443 present over here as well. So that's like an HTTPS port. We have 389, that is LDAP, 111 is present over here. We have 80 over here running HTTP. We have 22 running SSH. So obviously we have multiple ports present over here. So what we can try to do is, we can just try and see if we get something, if try to load these pages over here, and if we see that we try to get something in our TCP dump or not. So let's just run TCP dump, and we'll be giving the interface switch for LO, that is the local. Okay, let's just look into it in a bit. IPA. So we have this LO, right? Look back. So we'll just do that. So we'll be giving TCP dump, I switch for interface, LO, and then probably we'll just give this X switch over here and SO in order to display this. X switch is to display an ASCII text, and S0 is like to display the entire packet, like whatever you receive. The packet as in the entire series of packets. So complete packet in short, not bits and pieces of it. So let's just look into TCP dump's man page. So if you look over here, we have this thing. So if we go to X switch, capital X, okay, I think there'll be multiple. Okay. So we do have this thing over here when passing and printing headers of each packet, print the data of each packet in hex and ASCII. Okay, so it's going to print it in hex as well as ASCII characters so that we can read it. ASCII, obviously, these are like whatever text is written over as in ASCII probably. So we can read those things, as well as we can look at S0. Okay, I think S0 was present over here. So we do have this snap len. So this is snap len bytes of data from which each packet rather than default. So in short, if we set this to default, 0 sets it to default. That means this length, maximum length of packet or something you can receive over here. So that's why we'll be probably using this. Otherwise it would be truncated, okay, in order to get into Nexus. So that's why we'll be giving S0 over here. So we'll just mention this thing, and we'll just try to run and see if we get something. So let's just hit enter. And obviously for now it's not showing anything over here. So what we can try to do is, the main thing, you can try and reload other pages as well as this there's another page over here which says like, try to reset this account or something like that. You can try to do that, but I don't think that's the way. The important page over here is you can obviously try reloading each and every page. I think it's a status PHP page, this list of banned IP address. So let's just try to reload this and see if we get something over here. Obviously it may take some time, I guess, so let's just wait for a bit. And over here, if we see that we added that S0, I guess that's where the capture size was this like bytes. Probably try to add this thing, okay. So this status PHP page does get loaded, and we do see that we get multiple things over here, okay. We get multiple requests, or like, some connection, and if we see over here, it's coming from lightweight, and obviously this particular port to this lightweight LDAP, okay, and there is one LDAP to this particular 37614 port. There's this another one from this to LDAP, and we see over here we get some interesting text over here which looks like a hex or something, and which is not very clear. What you can do is you can just try to copy this and try to filter it properly and try to get a text in one particular line. This may be a bit messy, so obviously this thing we get something interesting over here because it says UID LDAP user 2. We have OU over here which says people, the DC lightweight and DC HackTheBox HTTP, and we do get some string present over here. So what we can do is we can just copy this entire thing over here and paste this, and we can like format it probably. So we can just remove these things. So we do get a string over here. If we try to copy this thing, and let's just try to echo n WCWC, in order to get the count of that, it says 32. So most likely it may look like an hash or something like that for this particular user. That is your LDAP2 user, it looks like, UID or something. You can try to crack that, or you can try to enter it as a password, okay. So what we can do is we can just close this thing, press Ctrl C in order to close this packet. And what we can do is we can just try to su into the box as user LDAP user 2. And let's just do that. Enter the password which you got this over here. Let's just copy it, paste it, and we do get LDAP user 2 access. So let's just pause over here for a minute. Let's just exit. We'll come back to this IP address user, and what we'll try to do is we'll just try and see a better way to get this, because obviously this may look a bit messy on the terminal itself. So what you can do is you can run tcpdump again over here, and you can just output it to probably like mutated nuts and pcap. I think you can do that, yeah. So let's just do this, okay, and obviously it's listening for a few things over here. What we can do is we can try to load this particular page again, and let's just wait and see if we get something. So in the meanwhile, we'll just start wireshark over here, so we can just do wireshark. So we can check for wireshark over here, and probably we'll have to open that particular packet. So let's just wait for that. Just go to lightweight. So probably we'll need that packet, so let's just wait for that, and then probably we'll just get it. Okay, this page is still loading, so let's just wait for this. Okay, it did get loaded, and we'll just wait for some time. That I don't think we'll get a verbose over here, that we get some information or something like we did earlier, or we could have just left that switch open, right, and we could have outputted it directly. I think that would be better, but yeah, let's just wait for this thing, because I think after it got done, after some time, it did show us multiple things over here. So I think we can just try to close this and see if we did get any packets present. So let's just do Control C, and it says that 22 packets received by filter. So what we'll try to do is we'll just try to run this thing. Sorry, we'll just look at the pcap file first. So we'll just do lsla. We do have mutated nuts pcap file over here, read write, And if you want to transfer this file into the attack machine, that is a Kali machine, I don't think there's netcat present over here. So what we can do is we can just do cat mutated nuts pcap, and we can send it to dev tcp, and that is the IP address of my attack machine, that is 1428, and also the port number, that is, I'll just give probably 5555, and over here we'll just try to listen to nc nvlp 5555, and we'll probably output it to, okay, first we'll just go to the exploit directory. Okay, just copy this thing, and then we'll probably go to and output it to probably nuts pcap itself. Okay, so pcap is packet capture, so let's just do that, and it's listening. So let's just try to do this, and if we do that, we do get this particular file present over here. Okay, so we can do that, or what we can do is, since we already have this particular user's creds, right, you can take it to his home directory and use scp from ssh, use scp to copy from there. The reason why we are trying to do this in packet filtering, okay, we'll just come to this detail thing in a bit, but obviously we do have the file over here, we have mutated nuts pcap. I think we can drag and drop. Let's just try if that works. Okay, it does work over here. So if we look over here, we get the same request, the LDAP request which is present. Okay, we do get this lightweight active directory. If you just double click it, this thing immediately opens up for you. And if you see over here, we get the same exact thing present over here. So what we can do is, we can just take this, show as ASCII, showing as ASCII. Okay, just look into this over here. You can go to lightweight. You can try to manually enumerate things and see over here if you get something or no. So we can go to protocol, bind request, authentication, simple. So we have this thing present over here. We can just take and copy the value, because we don't want to copy this particular simple thing present over there, and we can just try to paste it. We do get the exact same password or hash. It looked like a hash, but it was actually the password. So we do get this particular thing. Let's just try to take that and try to sue as user LDAP user 2. Why LDAP user 2 is because if you check over here in the packet capture, over here in the LDAP message it says UID LDAP user 2. So that's why this is most likely belonging to LDAP user 2. So in short, what is happening behind this whole TCP thing is, probably in the status PHP, there is some script written which is like, trying to do a LDAP request over here, and this LDAP is not using SSL. Okay, so this is like a plain text LDAP. So in short, that's why we are able to capture this particular traffic over here, and we are trying to get that credentials present. So it's trying to do some LDAP request as this LDAP user 2 using this particular credential if you try to load this status.php page. Okay, so that's why we are trying to, what we did was, we tried to sniff using this particular TCP dump over here. We were trying to sniff packets in the target machine's local host IP address, sorry, in the local host itself, in the target machine. So we did do that, we did give the hello switch over here, okay, because we wanted to sniff in the local host itself and see if there's something happening in the local host. Okay, and earlier we just mentioned, right, we gave the X and SO switch to in order to display the entire packet over here. Okay, so let's just look into this, and we see that we do get this LDAP request. Okay, so what we'll try to do is, this is what it was doing. It was trying to connect some connection or something like that, and it was trying to do an LDAP credential. It was using LDAP credential for something. Probably it was written behind the status PHP. For now, we do not have much information, but this is what we got. Obviously, if you want to do the box, like, you can try to check out you can try to load other pages as well and see if you get anything interesting, and then later on take that pcap file and put it into wireshark and see if you get something. So okay, we do get a valid credential now. So this is for user 2. So let's just enter this password over here. Now what we'll try to do is, let's see if we get our user flag. So let's just go to home and LDAP user 2. Okay, my bad. We have to sue as LDAP user 2 first. Paste the password. If we do who am I, we are over here as LDAP user 2. So let's just go to LDAP user 2 directory. So if you do LSLA, we do have user txt present over here, and we can very well read it because it belongs to others. So we can very well read this particular file. Another thing is that, there are some open LDAP admin guide PDF present, LDAP PDF present. So thought earlier that probably there'll be something interesting over here, but there's nothing present. You can try to check that out and try to get some guide on LDAP over here. And also we see that okay, there's bash history present, but there's nothing present over here. And we have backup 7z file as well. We have read access over here, but what we'll try to do is we'll just try to take this file into our attack machine and see if we get something. So what we'll try to do is we'll run netcat again over here. We'll just change this to backup 7z. So let's just do that. And because why this thing is interesting, because by default this thing is not present over here. As I mentioned, like this thing also was interesting, but there's nothing present. Like if you try to look for it further, you will be in a rabbit hole. Like there will not be anything present over there. So we do have backup 7z present. Let's just try to send this particular file. So you can use that SCP. You can take this file, copy it to like tmp directory or something, give chmod 777 so that other user copies to his particular home directory, that is that 10, 10, 14, 28. You can do that big root, or you can just cat this backup 7z file, or you can do a base 64, or you can just directly send it using dev, because since now we all have, so what we'll try to do is we'll be using dev tcp and 10, 10, 14.28, and also the port number, that is 5555. So let's just do that. Okay, it immediately gets sent over here. We have the backup 7z file. Let's just try to open it. We have multiple files over here, which looks like the web pages which are present over here in this particular application. So let's just try to open it and try to extract it basically. So you can probably just do this. It says locked, so most likely there's a password behind it. So in short, we do not have the password for this. We can enter default passwords over here, but I don't think that's going to work. So what we'll try to do is, there's, earlier, like we had seen for this key pass, right? So it had a password, and in order to crack that, we had to, convert it to like key pass to John or something like that, and then run it against John with rockutxt. So we'll be trying to do that. What we'll try, I don't think we require this over here for now. So let's just close that. Close this, and what we can do is we can search for locate 7z2 John. Okay, so we do have 7z2 John over here, and what we can do is we can just try and Google out and see. You can do that as well, how to convert, how to crack 7z files using John or something like that. You'll probably get this thing, PL file. This Perl file, basically if you try to run it over here, okay, you have to obviously give the file name, that is a zip file. So if you give that backup 7z, so obviously it's going to give a huge string. Okay, so this is the file name, I guess, backup 7z. Okay, another thing is, if you run over here, I'm not going to get any error now, because there was some LZMA some file or module missing, so it was giving me an error earlier. So make sure you try to Google that entire thing, how to install LZMA so and so in Perl module, something like that, in Kali Linux. So just do a simple Google search how to install that in Kali Linux, and you'll probably get like sudo apt install LZMA, all this kind of thing. So you can do that over there. So I do already have that present, so that's why I'm not getting the errors. I wouldn't get that errors, so I'll just do this. You get a huge hash or something like that. So this whole thing is converted into hash. So what we can do is we just try to output it to backup hash. So this thing is working really slow now on my system for some reason. We'll just do this and it's done. Let's just clear it probably. Don't think I require it, because I did already. What I did was I tried to save it in this particular backup 7z file. So what we can do is, now we can just locate the rockutxt. If the I think rockutxt is present by default. I think it's in the tar gz format. So you can try to unzip it and get it over here. Okay, I think it's present in word list over here as well. So you can take this rockutxt and in seclist, or you can use this one. Okay, let's just use this. Let's just do sudo John, because in order to run John you have to run sudo. You can use hashcat as well, but make sure when you're using hashcat you have to remove this backup 7z first. Okay, Obviously John will recognize it and execute properly, but if you're using hashcat, make sure you remove that. So we have sudo John over here, so we'll be giving backup.hash and the word list, that is word list, and this particular rock.txt. So let's just hit enter and see if we get something. So obviously it will prompt for the password, enter the password over here, and it says no passwords left to crack because I did already crack this password earlier. So in order to show that particular password, I just have to use this show switch over here, and it says the password for this backup 7z is delete. So let's just do that and see if it works. Extract these things over here. Let's just do delete. So I just did enter delete and it did let us extract the files. So let's just quit and look into it one by one. So you can look at index.php and see if you find something present over here. Probably now since we are logged in as LDAP user 2, we can see if we have some access, with this Apache user, whoever is running the web page. But don't think there's anything over there, and we can check out for reset as well. Okay, we can check out for status.php. And in status.php, you see that there is some LDAP user 1 present and a password present over here. So what we can do is we can take for this potential password for LDAP users, and we can check out for this particular password. It's doing some LDAP configuration, LDAP connection request, which we saw earlier, right? Sorry, using wireshark, we did see earlier that it was doing that, but that was LDAP user 2. The reason is because this status.php which is present over here, which we did get from backup 7z file, is different and it's not same than what is running on this particular web server. It may be a bit confusing, but we'll look into this in a bit. So this actually belongs to LDAP user 1 and we have this particular password. So you can obviously try and check out for multiple pages over here, and if you see if you get something interesting, we don't think that's the case. So let's just take this password. Another thing is I forgot to mention that if you try to SSH, okay, let's just look into this. So let's just try to SSH as LDAP user 1 at 1119. Okay, let's just do that. It may take some time. We can try to su over here and to LDAP user 1. We'll enter the password which we copied earlier, and we do have access as LDAP user 1 over here. If I enter LDAP user 1 over here, it says permission denied for the same password because SSH login is most likely disabled over here. So we'll look into the sshd config file in some time once we get root, I guess. So if we do the same thing for LDAP user 2 as well, that's the same thing which is going to happen. So we have to use su. Okay, so that's what happens. Like if you get a password over here, you'll probably think firstly that this is a hash. You'll try to crack it. Even if you did not try to crack it, you'll try to use it with SSH because that's the login which you'll get. You'll probably miss out to use su. So whenever you get a credential, right, try to use it with all possible login vectors or all possible users. Like try to do mismatch over here and see all possible combinations and permutation, everything. So try to do all those kind of thing and try to log in and see if you get that. So for LDAP user 2, let's just try to copy this thing and paste it. It will say permission denied again because SSH login is disabled and denied for these users. We'll look into that in a bit, like later. So in short, we do get LDAP user 1 access over here, and if we do lsla, it will say permission denied because we are in that LDAP user 2 directory. So let's just go to home. OSCP. So that's why make sure you enter the passwords everywhere, like in su over here, or we can probably do something else. In LDAP user 1 as well, you can do sudo l and try to check if you get something. We have sudo password for LDAP user, so let's just paste that. And okay, I think I'm pasting LDAP users 2 password, but even though if I do that, it says you cannot run anything as sudo on lightweight. So it's the same for LDAP user 2 as well. So that's why I did not do. But first thing, obviously, try to do sudo l as well and see if you get something rather than trying to. Obviously, here we had few interesting files, so we saw that. But try to do sudo l first. Okay. So we'll just go to LDAP user 2, user 1 over here, and we see that we get multiple files present. Okay, we have LDAP tls.php file, Okay, so let's just see that and see if there's something interesting. Not sure, probably some connection for LDAP with the LDAP user 1 and the password present over here. Nothing interesting, we already have this password, so yeah. We do have openssl and tcpdump present over here, which says like read write execute. We did add tcpdump. If you do which tcpdump, it says user has been tcpdump, and if you do openssl as well, it says user bin openssl is already present in the box. So that means there is some additional executable file given over here in this LDAP user 1's directory. So another thing what we can do is we can just use get cap over here to see if we have some capabilities present in tcpdump and openssl, or what we can do, since it's a beginner friendly thing, instead of running all these manual commands, we can just run go back to tmp directory and run the LinEnum scan again. LinEnum sh, run the scan and see if we find anything different. You can run the LinEnum scan for LDAP user 2 as well to see anything different, but I just wanted to save time, and you could see it like right in the home directory itself, those interesting files. So that's why we picked it up from there. So it may take some time to run, I guess. So you can manually go and check out for multiple things over here to see. And as I mentioned earlier, that cell Linux is present. I think it was present on top. So this is what like the policies and everything are present over there. So that is like to restrict users from accessing everything. So that's why we could not get like that PSAUX thing as well, right? So yeah, it's a long list and still running. We have the Apache versions. When you do the box for the first time, obviously you look into multiple things, try to take few things, run a search exploit against it, check an exploit DB or something like that, till you find something. So did run few additional things. You can check out for SUD files that LDAP user 2 or LDAP user 1, did you get anything extra, or SGID you got something. Obviously you could have checked earlier as well for any groups or something, but yeah. And if you look at the POSIX capabilities over here, we do see that we have TCP dump. So this was present for our earlier user, right, at 10.10. Default user, which was present earlier. And we see that we do have an additional thing present over here which says TCP dump, capnet admin, capnet raw, EP. That's the same thing for TCP dump. You can try to sniff packets again, but I don't think it's going to be useful because we already got LDAP user 2 credentials and LDAP user 1. There's something called as openssl, and it's given EP present over here. So EP is nothing but effective and permitted. So you can just do okay, effective. Okay, I'm not sure where it is. I think it's on the man page over here itself. If you check out for capabilities. So if you look over here, it says like you have inheritable, you have permitted and effective capabilities. So in short, if you have this particular thing, you can just check for capabilities over here, I guess. Okay, get cap. Okay. Okay, so in short, if it is like, basically if you are trying to run this TCP dump present over here, so we do have this TCP dump from LDAP user 1. Also we have home LDAP user 1 openssl present over here. So let's just try and see. This EP basically means that you can run anything, and like effective and permitted, you don't have any other special permissions over here, and whatever you do probably would be as root. In short, it's like a different SUID kind of file which is giving that EP permission, effective and permitted for everything. So this is like an SUID file over here. In short, that's the thing. So you can check out for more things over here, I guess. So you can try to read out things and try to figure it out that how these POSIX capabilities work, and it's in short, it's gonna, as I mentioned earlier, it's gonna let you run suid kind of a thing as root. So what we'll try to do is we'll just try to test it out and see if it works first. So we have openssl present over here, and what we can do is we can just run openssl. Okay, let's exit this. I don't want that. So what we'll try to do is we'll just go to gtfobins. So, and we'll check out for openssl over here. We can do openssl. We do have openssl over here, and we can check out. We do have this reverse shell parameter, but in short, if you do this reverse shell, it's gonna, not let you have a escalated shell or something, or suid shell or something like that, because this is doing a sh first, and then you're using openSSH for a shell. So this is running sh first, okay? So it's not running openssl and then in between somewhere over here it's running sh. So it's running this sh thing first. So in short, this would run as a current user itself, that is LDAP user 1. So what we can do is we can try to use the read function to directly read the root flag, but I think we don't want to do that because obviously we need a proper shell, right? So we can do this. Also it says in suid as well, this thing is present for bash, and I'm not sure how this thing was going to work. I don't think it works literally. Same command was present on top itself, yeah. I'm not sure. I don't think this thing works over here, even if you give openssl, because I did try it and it did not work. So you guys can go and try it as well and see if it works. But then you get the shell as the same user itself. You do not get it as the escalated user. So what we can do is we can just do file to read for now, and we have this openssl enc this. So let's just copy this. Okay, this command over here may be a bit confusing, but what it's doing is creating a variable over here, L file, and this is the file to read. So that can be like your etc shadow file or something like that. So, and then the second step, it's like getting this particular file over here. So we don't want that first part really. So we can just use the second part itself, and instead of this L file, we can just give the file name directly. So let's just do that. And we'll see for files which are read only by root. Okay, so what we can do is we can check out for some files which are read only by root, that is your etc shadow file or sudoers, or there are multiple files of that. So we can do that, and it says permission denied over here because for some reason this openssl is the one which we saw in user bin openssl, right? So now we need to go to home directory, cd LDAP user 1. So let's go over here. We have openssl present. So this is the openssl we do want to run. So let's just do this openssl, because this is the POSIX capability which is effective and permitted for all the things as root probably. So as suid is in LDAP user 1 openssl, not in the previous openssl which is that user bin 1. So we have to use this thing, and let's just paste the command from here, enc. So encoded and I think encrypted. Okay, in file, try to do that. We do get the shadow file over here. So this is the shadow file. You can try and crack this password, and we can, if you look at the etc file right as well, you can override the shadow file with a custom made created openssl password, and you can try to add it over here. You can do that, or what we can do is we can check for the sudoers file. So let's just do that, etc sudoers. We can read the root flag as well very well, but I don't want to do that. So it's very easy, just get the root flag directly from read. So we do have the sudoers file. What I'll try to do is I'll just copy the sudoers file now. Okay, sudoers, just copy it and paste it in our attack machine over here. So we can probably do sudoers, copy it, paste this entire thing. In order to modify the sudoers file, what you have to do is you have to search for the root. So root says all commands over here. Okay, allow root to run any commands anywhere, and it says same thing without a password. So I just want no password to be present. I don't want any password to be present for a user. So I can probably add for 10.10.14.28 user, but for some reason whenever I added an IP address over here in the sudoers file, it was giving some error. So what I did was we are as LDAP user 1 as well, I think, right? If you do who am I, we are as LDAP user 1. So let's just try adding LDAP user 1 over here. Obviously you don't have to add it after this hash, because obviously we'll add it something like this over here. So we'll add it over here. Does not make a difference if you add it on top or something. Let's just add it below. LDAP user 1. So we can just tab, have this thing copied, paste it over here, paste it, save it, and what we'll try to do is we'll use wget, and get that particular file. For that we need to start our HTTP server as well. So let's just do that. Python 3m HTTP server, and let's just do 1428 and the port number 8000 and the file name, that is your sudoers file. So let's just do that. We do get the sudoers file over here. We do get it saved. We do have read access for everybody. What we'll try to do is we'll just try and update our sudoers file. So if you do that openssl encoded again, we do see that there's root over here and there's no other users. There's wheel over here, but there's no root user present over here, right? So in short, we need to overwrite this sudoers file. What we'll try to do is we'll have this openssl enc thing and we'll have to write it. So in order to do that, again over here we do not require this entire thing, because here it's trying to create a file, trying to create a temporary file, it's trying to echo some data into this temporary file and then trying to do this. Instead of all these first three steps, you can read it manually and you may get used to it. You can use these things as well. There's no hard and fast rule that you cannot use this, but it can be done in this particular one command itself. So we have in over here, we have so much of these things present into this. So we just need the out over here. So you can just try to copy this thing and paste the out, and the L file, that is my bad. For in, you don't have to give this etc sudoers, just give the sudoers file, which is already present in the current working directory, right? So if you do out, so we'll be giving sudoers, so that's what we'll do, and obviously it did not give us any error. So why I entered sudoers itself? Because we want to, if we do lsla, we have the sudoers file, right, which we got from my attack machine, which we did modify over here, LDAP user 1. So we do have this file present over here, and we just needed this file from the current working directory. So that's why I just gave it sudoers, and we need to output it to etc sudoers file. So we got this malicious sudoers file, and we are trying to output it to etc sudoers. Since we are running this openssl as POSIX, that EP, effective and permitted, we are in short running this as suid, that is like running it as root. So that's why we could write this etc sudoers file. If you check out for lsla on etc sudoers, obviously that file belongs to root. My bad, I think I did not copy this thing. So it belongs to root, and root only can read it and obviously write it if he is root. Nobody else can do that. Okay, so if we look at the data itself, so over here, like a minute back at 21, we did modify this particular file over here. Okay, so what we'll try to do is we'll just try and do lsla again, and we do have, okay, so what we'll try to do is we'll just try and see if we can run any sudo l command. Earlier I think we did see, and it was asking for password and it did not let it say, sorry user, this cannot run anything on LDAP. So if you do sudo l, we see that we do get that sudo user 1 may run all as no password all. So if you do sudo who am I, so we are over here as root in short. So in order, if you want to get a shell, you can just probably do sudo and bash. So you'll probably get a root shell over here, because we are giving sudo to run that root command, and we'll be giving a bash shell. So we are running as sudo root. So if we do who am I now, obviously we are as root. So this is how we got root. We can go to the root directory. We have this root access present over here, and we do get the root txt flag. We can very well read it obviously, and you get multiple things present over here. You can check out for like post exploitation. You can see if there is something interesting present over here. We do have SSH as well. I think we could have logged in through SSH as well. You could have written those keys. So let's just do SSH. There's nothing present over here, but I think we could have given authorized key. I'm not sure if that would, it should ideally work unless SSH present, in SSH config file it's present that root access, root permit is not allowed, like no over there. Okay, so let's just do that and see that, why that LDAP user 1 and 2 were not letting us, it was not letting those users log in as SSH. So let's just do that. Let's just go to etc SSH, my bad, cd etc ssh. So this is just for learning like why it was blocking us and it was not blocking the other users. So you look into this sshd file which could be read only by root. So let's just do cat, copy this thing over here sshd, and it says over here, if you see, it says deny users LDAP user 1, LDAP user 2. So in short, it was trying to deny us and it was not letting us, log in as these particular users present over here. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it over here. I don't think there's anything present. Password authentication, so authorize keys. So permit root login, yes, is disabled over here. So by default, I think it's not going to let you log in as root. So I don't think you can log in as root because that thing is disabled. Okay, so in short, it had this deny users rule. Now what we'll try to do is we'll just go back to the VAR and check out the web applications. Okay, so let's just go there and check out cd HTML. Now obviously we can very well read it because obviously we are root. So let's just look at the status PHP page. Okay, so we'll just do status PHP, and if you look into this status PHP page, obviously we do get few things over here, PHP remote address and all these things, and we have the PHP code again over here. It says LDAP user 2 and with the password. Okay, so this is what it is, and if you look over here into the status PHP which we got from the backup 7z file, we do have this LDAP user 1 and this particular user. So in short, obviously it would be confusing at first that hey, I got this file but this thing is happening and so on. So if you look at status PHP, this is where this whole LDAP connection thing is happening, and that's why we are probably getting that in that pcap file we are getting that LDAP credentials and all these kind of things, because plain text is used, it's not, there's no SSL present over here, no encryption present, so that's why this thing is happening. So this was the box, like first we had to easy access to SSH, check out for POSIX capabilities. So that's one thing which is very interesting, and I think it was not present in the previous boxes, like POSIX capabilities. We could use that for tcpdump, capture credentials, then check out and try to crack the backup 7z file. And after that we did try and use those credentials with LDAP user 1. Then we did find another POSIX capabilities. We did use and exploit this openssl over here, which is like given effective and permitted. So in short, it's like gonna let us write root. So we did modify the sudoers file, because once we do that sudoers file, it is giving us access. So sudoers file is where this sudo command looks up. Once you enter sudo command, that's where that it goes like to the etc sudoers file. So if we do any configuration changes over there, so we, as we saw earlier, right, in that LDAP user, if you do exit over here, we did see that we can use all commands as well. So this is what we had entered over there. And if you do cat etc sudoers as well, okay, I think we'll have to do it as root. So let's just do it as root. We do have that entry present over here, which we did enter manually. So this is that malicious entry present over here. So this was the box. If you guys like the video, do give a thumbs up. And if you guys have any queries regarding the box, so do let me know in the comments below. And also, if you all have if you all are not subscribed yet, so do subscribe for more upcoming videos. Thank you.